What's up, guys? So basically this is a re-upload of my PvP character update video from a few days ago, because I found out fairly shortly after I had uploaded it that the background noise is absolute garbage, and I found it so annoying. So I thought, alright, next time I have some free time, the next couple of days, I'll just re-upload the video with hopefully better quality, so so it's not as annoying. I mean, basically, I had forgotten my microphone over here, and it was sitting right on my computer, so you know of course it's gonna pick up all the PC noise and vibration and stuff. So it was stupid of me, but I guess let's just re-upload it and re-record it, and yeah, hopefully the audio is gonna be better this time. It should be. So essentially, just gonna go through all my PvP characters and go through the changes, that mainly just gear upgrades for most of them, and only character that has some significant changes is my Telezone. So in the old game, let's go into this character. So in the old game, 99% of people would 99% of people would go with a walk zone, which was the best at the time, with weapon switch, gear and strength bug and all that. So I started off like that as well. So when I built this character, I had no idea how good it was in d2r. So I started off with a walk zone, but I very quickly found out that in a lot of the matchups where in the old game you would have obviously the advantage of weapon switch glitch and desync and stuff like that, you really don't get any advantage in that in d2r. So lots of the matchups are essentially, if the character comes, like, if the character manages to survive until they sort of get to stomp you and pressure you, you essentially run non-stop, until most of the time you die, or sometimes you get lucky and you do some more damage with throw or knockback or something like that. But it's always like it leaves you in a very vulnerable position most of the time, because you just feel like you're being chased non-stop. And again, as a sort of disclaimer before because I'm obviously, it's gonna sound really negative, but that's only for, it's only negative when you really fight good players. So this is the disclaimer that all of that stuff is true versus good players, versus people that can hold name lock, they can, they know when to escape, they know when to push in, and they're very sort of generally very good at their characters. So versus Hammerdens, versus Necromancers, versus Java Zones, for example, if they're really good and you're a walk zone, if they're really good and they're a walk zone, it's quite hard for you as a boa to sort of, to do much, because the moment they jump in, all you can do is just run about and throw shit. But let's say a hammer would usually push in because they have smite, fist of heavenstone. So the moment they have that, literally the only thing you can do is just run. Like, you can't really tank them that much if they're really good with it. Obviously, if they're really good to obviously keep the pressure, you just can't stand still because you're gonna die in 2 hammers. So you can't really, all you can do is just run and just wait until it sort of, until things, until the swirl is over. But then as you're running, they can just keep, they can keep pushing you. And if you stop for a second, then then they can stun you again, they can smite you again, fist of heaven, and just repeat. And all you end up doing is just running. So because of the so much running, usually you run out of space. So like eventually, after let's say 20 seconds of duel, 30 seconds of duel, you most likely will kind of get cornered and you'll have to run this way. So when you run north, usually, especially if you're stunned, but like just generally, if you run north and you get stunned, obviously the guy that's stomping you is gonna appear in front of you, which makes it so that you get stuck. So like, if you, God forbid, you have to like run north, the person that, let's say it's a hammer stomping you, you're literally just gonna get stuck right into the stomp, and then you're gonna eat some damage. So it's just really bad, you know. It's you run out of space versus good players. You would run out of space eventually, and then you're gonna have to start running north, or you know, sort of, or sideways, sort of. And I found there's like very like oftentimes there are these really shitty. I don't know if it happened because I didn't play that much before I realized that it's a shitty, you know, it's not a versatile character, the walk zone. So I started making a telezone. But even the time that I played, there were so many situations where, you know, let's say I run sideways, you know, because I get cornered, I run sideways, and my character glitches out like really randomly. So like I get self-synced in a situation where I feel like I should sort of be able to run around that character. All that stomping sort of self-syncs you in a way, and you kind of glitch out and teleport backwards somehow, and it's really buggy. Like, I don't know if it was just a like at the time that I was playing that it happened, but yeah, it was really shit. Versus Necromancer, same shit. So like if they close the distance and start spiriting, they close the distance, they kind of stomp you around, they start spiriting. You know, you obviously you're gonna have to like move about. Like you can't pressure them that much. So let's say they hear a bunch of spirits around here, they make you start running, and the moment they do that, obviously they're gonna start spamming even more spirits. So you're gonna end up trying to run from those spirits, and then they're gonna keep pressuring you because you have to run. Otherwise, if you stop, there's a potential that all these spirits are gonna hit you, or some of them are gonna hit you and either kill you or leave you really low life. So you end up running, but a good player would recognize to keep pressuring you more as you run. So essentially, it just keeps, like, it just becomes like a run simulator, you know? You just keep running and, you know, hoping that one of your throws or something will stick, and it will sort of get them to move away. But you know, the moment they create pressure, it's really hard for you to come back. Same with Java zones. I mean, they're really good. Even in the old game, they were just a hard counter to a boar. So Amazons, same thing. If they keep the lock and you're a walk zone, I mean, you just can't do shit. That's it, you know. So bottom line, a walk zone, in my personal opinion, is just really shit in general in comparison to a telezone. Like, you know, whatever a walk zone can do, a telezone can do way better in every situation in d2r. So with that said, rant over, let's go into the gear. So Enigma, obviously. Right now I am with the setup that is versus Necromancers or Hammer Dance, so Nature Piece. So Nature Piece for the Oak, the extra tankiness, extra life. A damage ring, so you can go with a damage ring with attack rating, dexterity, life, mana, versus Necromancers and Hammer Dance. That's kind of what you want. Amulet, 18 faster cast rate, so we're aiming for 48 or 68 faster cast rate breakpoint. So yeah, anything with 18 faster cast rate, ideally, I think, you know, the best stat would be dexterity and something else. In this case, I have lightning resist, which is pretty good, a pretty good add. But I mean, if you can get like a 20 dex life one, for example, that's really good as well. But I think, yeah, generally dexterity, because it gives you attack rating and damage, and then life or something like that. Boots, War Travelers, the absolute best boots. Essentially, what it boils down to is when you need resists, right? You're gonna change either your boots or your helmet for the most part. Or both. Like, that's kind of what most people do. And generally speaking, those are the two things that provide the most amount of damage outside of a weapon on your character. So what I've sort of found personally, I think, is that you don't want to change any of those. So like, I mean, in the old game, I have both a faster and walk, 120 enhanced damage helm, and then different resistance helms and stuff like that. Yes, you can go with that in certain situations, but I feel like for the most part, especially with a telezone, for the most part, you wanna just keep with that max damage stuff. You know, you don't want to put any, let's say, 20 faster cast rate, 45 all resist helmet, or you know, something like that. Or you don't want boots like this, for example, like true resist boots on here, because you can use just specialized, like you can use your inventory to maybe lose some damage, but in that situation, because a telezone usually relies on life a lot. You know, you have way more life than a walk zone normally. When you're replacing stuff, you're losing damage, but you're still retaining a good amount of life this way. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Yes, you lose some damage, but in the long run, you lose damage here a little bit, but you gain more specific resists, and then you retain the damage as high as possible. So in a situation where you would need resists, instead of changing these and losing a lot of damage, so something like, so let's say, look at this damage. So it's 5k, yeah, 1.5 to 5k. If I remove this, I'm losing about 300 damage, max damage, about 300 max damage, and about 150, 160 minimum damage. If I remove this, I lose even more. So I lose about 500, maybe like 450. So these are very significant. If I throw these away, so if I throw all these away, 12 charms, right? The 12 charms are pretty much equal to this. So if if I remove all these charms, let's say, and put all resists on them, that's the equivalent of changing this. So in this process, however, if I want single resists, this can provide me with 120 of each single resist. Meanwhile, if I change to this only gives me, let's say, 40 of each resist. So instead of 120 here, I only get the 40, and I lose, and I'm kind of retaining the damage, but I only get 40 resists instead of 120. So what my answer is to this is obviously keeping these, but then at the same time, whenever you need resistances versus specific characters, let's say versus lightning, fire, cold, whatever, all you do is you just put some resists here. So like you wouldn't need, in my particular case, I don't need to change more than 8 small charms here. So essentially this way, with keeping this on and this on in most setups, I retain the most amount of damage while still having maximum resists in different setups. So moving on. So Arachnid Mesh, obviously, for 68 faster cast rate breakpoint. Knockback gloves as best as you can. Knockback's really, really helpful at times. So yeah, really good to have those. Javelins, you need, if you want to go for the maximum throw speed, which is 89, you definitely need some sort of increased stack speed on your javelins. In my case, obviously you do need 20. So at the moment I have 100. If they didn't have any, even if they had 10 increased stack speed, in this particular situation, I'd be able to use them, as maximum increased stack speed. I can't remember. I think let me actually have a look. I think the jab the jab maximum increased attack speed that you can reach, I think it was above 90. So let's have a look. Amazon, Matrasha, Javelin, jab. No, actually, you're good. It's 83. So if you have, in this particular setup, if your javelins have 10 increased attack speed, you're still good. You're gonna retain, 90 increased attack speed for the throw, which is 89, and then 83 is the maximum jab speed. So 10 increased attack speed boots, javelins will do here. I'm pretty sure on the other setups it won't do, however. So I think 20 is the minimum in my situation that I needed. Like that's how I calculated it. And I think ideally you would want 30, because if you have 30, then you can ditch Nosferatu's Coil and have 68 faster cast rate at all times. But it's not really that vital at the end of the day, because 48 or 68, I mean, the faster cast rate breakpoint is slow to begin with, so it's not crazily noticeable. I personally don't think there's almost any difference in it. And also, if you don't go with Nosferatu's Coil, you're gonna have to put some more strength, because at the moment I haven't put any points in strength, and I will be missing strength to wear these weapons. However, if I put Nosferatu's Coil, obviously I can now wear them without having to put any strength at all on the character. So yeah, your main bow is Shadow Bow, so the most amount of damage, and it provides kind of the most flexibility compared to Matriarchal Bow. Matriarchal Bow is good. I mean, actually, no, Matriarchal Bow is really flexible too, but you can still get, so this requires 65 increased attack speed, whereas this requires 45, I think. But 65 is really easy to get anyways, and the damage of this is a bit better than this overall. So yeah, ideally you would want this as your main faith weapon. On switch side, your shield, so versus necromancers, hammerdens, maybe some sorcerers and things like that, maybe like fire, lightning, whatever. If you want to have lots of chance to open wounds, you like to bleed characters, Swordback is a really good choice. I've talked about this in the older video where you can utilize the switching to Swordback hold once you have projectiles on. So let's say I throw these guided arrows. The moment I switch to shield, those guided arrows would have 50% chance to open wounds. So let's see if this works here. Okay, as you can see, I think you can see. Can you see the? Can you see the blood there? So essentially, the first hit applied open wounds regardless, so he'll die now. But let's have a look at. I don't think it was really clear. Essentially, yeah, you. Oh, these are gonna be really weak, aren't they? Never mind. You have to trust me on that one. I'm not gonna waste all this time trying to prove the point, which I'm 100% sure it works. So essentially, what you do is you can sit back, throw, you can sit back, cast arrows and stuff, guided arrows, and then you can switch to throwback to swordback hold and have a 50% chance on each missile to apply open wounds on your target. So that's why it's really useful. The next best thing, or like the next option that is a really good thing, is with Nosferatu's Call, and you can use Phoenix for crazy throw damage. So at the moment 4.9. Obviously when you do when you have enchant and shit and pre-bow, and normally in this situation versus Hammerdens, for example, you will have Ravenfrost on side. You wouldn't have Nature Piece. I mean, you could have Nature Piece, but ideally you would have, because they will probably wear Raven for max block. So essentially, each smite they do might cold you, because not might, it will cold you for sure because of the cold damage. So you're likely to be wearing Raven Frost anyways. So yeah, this would be your throw damage. Loads and loads of throw damage this way. Yeah, it's really good. You can fight versus necromancers or hammerdens this way, and yeah, your throw will really hurt them. Versus damage reduction, so versus elemental druids, let's say, all you do is you keep Nosferatu Skull and you switch to this shield to storm, so you can get 50% damage reduction on switch. And then you obviously have 75 chance of block, and that way obviously if you're spamming arrows, if a druid closes in on you, you're gonna walk and throw spears at them with 50% chance of block, 50% damage reduction and max block. You know, you're gonna be really tanky in that situation. And so versus Druid, you're gonna wanna switch to this for life leech, mana, cold resists, and minimum damage and attack rating. And then all you're gonna do is you're just gonna put loads of cold resists, small charms. So again, just to illustrate the point, so I got 75 cold resist now, and I've only used 6 smart charms. So this way, when using inventory, you can just decide however much you know is needed in a particular situation. So I don't really need to put boots and, let's say, overshoot the cold resists. I need barely 75 cold resist versus a druid, so that hurricane doesn't damage me that much when it ticks. But I don't need any more because he wouldn't have any minus resists or anything like that on their gear, so it's pointless to add any more. So I barely have enough cold resists in that situation. So versus cold, I mean, I can go with more cold resists obviously, but probably I can just stay with these 8, and then you switch to this storm shield with 30 cold resist, increased stack speed, and you go with triangle gloves to remain with 48 faster cast rate, and then you put this helmet on, so for the maximum damage while still having 90 cold resists. And yeah, I feel like that way you gain the most amount of damage you can gain, whilst still, because I have the 451 smart charm here, this enhances it by about another 100 poison damage, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's about 110 more poison damage increased from this here with the triangle gloves, and of course 30 cold resist, so you've got loads of cold resist. So like on switch I have 391, and then I have 316 on both sides this way. And then you want to go with Material Bow, because you can't really get 55 increased stack speed. That's the only reason why I have the Material Bow here. And then you're either gonna stay with this, or more likely you're just gonna go with the damage ring. So yeah, this would be the cold resist setup. So on switch, quite a bit of stack. On both sides, 291. I can stretch it with a few more small charms here, and if I change this ring back to this ring, but not really needed for the most part. And this way you get, you know, on switch you still have 90 increased stack speed. This is what I was saying about the 20 increased stack speed javelins. So in this situation, if you had 10 increased stack speed javelins, which would have worked for the previous setup, here it doesn't work. So you would have 8 increased stack speed, so you wouldn't even meet the jab high speed either, where in this situation, because you have the most amount of cold resists on your shield, you can freely sort of chase them with throw and jab. So in certain situations, you can just throw around and just teleport and jab them. Yeah, it's really good if you can reach those breakpoints, and that's why I think 20 is kind of the bare minimum that you want. Or if you wanted, let's say, to reach 68, as I said, faster cast rate breakpoint and be with Arachnid Mesh, you would need a 30 increased attack speed javelin to make up for the Nosferatu spoil. And then obviously, yeah, as I said, Matriarchal Bow, because you can't reach the increased attack speed with the Shadow Bow. And then versus Lightning and Fire, I'm not gonna go through with it. I do get enough resists, you know, like I got all these small charms here. I've got 10 light, 10 fire, 10 cold, and then a few poison and stuff. So if I need to, I can definitely make it up, and I'm using this ring with lightning and fire resists. All I'm gonna say is that for lightning, for example, you have the choice to go like this and have 80 light resist on switch and 75 on main hand. That could be one choice. So yeah, you could go like that, or you could switch to you can go like that, or you can just stay with 75. I think that should be alright with all the passive skills. I was thinking, can you put Thunder Gods? No, because I won't have enough increased attack speed. I'll have 85. But technically, you could put on Thunder Gods if you wanted, and ditch this and have Swordback Hold. Actually, yeah, with Swordback Hold, because you have 110, I can ditch this and I can put Thunder Gods, and then I'll have 100 increased attack speed. Obviously, when I put the small chance with light res. I should have enough, however, I might need to, like in this situation, I might need to stack more lightning versus obviously versus those Java zones, because they will have you know, they'll have minus resist, so I might end up having to stack some more lightning resists. Maybe put these two. I feel like that should be okay, in all honesty. Yeah, so essentially, yeah, that's the character. I think it's really good, personally. I really enjoy playing it. You can, so the playstyle allows you to do loads of, like, you know, lots of sort of, you can retrieve, you can pick your situations where you feel like, you know, you're at a disadvantage, so you can decide to withdraw for a minute and then keep your distance, and then and just pick your moments, essentially. So you're not cornered, you can always move away, and just pick the best positions for you, essentially, and then you can you essentially ensure that you have the highest chance of winning versus Hammerdance. I mean, it dramatically increases your chance of winning versus Hammerdance. Essentially, it makes the duel very much in your favor, if you ask me. And versus Necromancers, same shit. It really increases your win rate versus them. Versus Javelin Amazons, same thing. If anything, you know, like, you just win 9 out of 10 duels, I think, versus a Javelin that way. So yeah, really good character, very fun to play. to play with, very different to sort of the old game, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, that's the boar Amazon teleboa. Let's go through quickly those other characters. So one thing again I'll also say is regarding hit recovery and faster on walk. So in my super old video I did say that hit recovery, you don't really need the max hit recovery, or you don't need faster on walk and all that shit. I have found, especially versus Druid with a Necromancer, you absolutely need some hit recovery, some faster on walk. So I have added those two smart charms and ground charms here for an extra 20 faster on walk. Other than that, I've just upgraded this ring and this amulet, and that's it. Like, my setups are just kind of the same. I have this funky durability setup here, but yeah, overall I would say yeah, faster on walk is quite important versus Druid, Necromancer versus Druid for sure. You don't really need it versus other stuff like, I mean, trappers maybe, but still, you know, it's not that crazy, you know. But versus Druid, I definitely think you need it. And then as for hit recovery, absolutely you need 86 hit recovery or 99 on a Druid. So all my characters now are hit capped to 86. So yeah, I do think you really need it. The hammer then, so this is the hammer then, the basic shackle setup. I have a decent ring here, and then a decent amulet, and that's it pretty much. Just the normal average Joe hammer then, essentially, and then all my switch stuff here for all the characters. So I share small charms with all the characters. I have some ABS gear here, and then I use this for the damage reduction on the Hammerden and on the Telesmiter. I have this Kiras if I need it, Sandstorm, Pots. These I barely use. Actually I don't even use them. They just sit here in a situation where like maybe one day I'll need the extra resist for some reason, so I'll have them there to switch. But yeah, I haven't really used them yet. So that's it. That's the hammer then. Nothing fancy there. Telesmiter. Oh shit. But never mind. It's a nightmare again. Doesn't really matter. The smiter. So this is the 125 faster cast rate setup. I have 105 faster on walk here. So what I've found is that it's very useful to have lots of faster on walk in order to chase necromancers. So you could let's say if you stomp them and then you have to like walk chase them. Let's say they don't immediately leave and they want to do the classic sort of walk north spear sort of thing. You can chase them with smite with 105 faster run walk, so, and catch them off guard that way. So obviously you're gonna keep the lock, and then you're just gonna keep running like that. That's essentially it. Obviously I'm killing these mobs with I'm killing these mobs with one hit, but essentially, you know what I mean, like you just run at them, land a hit, and then you just start walk hitting them like this. And then if they're trying to do that spear thing, you end up landing another couple of hits. You might even kill them essentially in that way. So yeah, really good. I found to have 30 faster walk circuit for the 125 faster cast rate setup. That's essentially it. That's why it's, you know, that's why I have it. And then another decent amulet, a ring to wear on switch to wear the phase blade, because without it, obviously I need dexterity to wear it, but I don't normally wear this ring in any other setup, so it's only here to help me wear the phase blade. I'm using Go Riders again for just to boost my faster and walk. You could go with Water Walks, but again you have 10 less faster and walk, and here you have the Bleed Damage Crushing Blow, which still helps with versus Necromancers anyways. Nature Piece. I'm using Zacharon bases for my spirits. I have a 45 or resist one, and then a Knight's mod one. And that's it really. I have Dracos if I need, if I'm in a pub game, whatever, and I need Life Leech. I have these versus, in combination with the Grief to hit the max breakpoint in my durability setup, but I'm not gonna go through all this now. So yeah, that's it pretty much. And then all my characters, if you've noticed, are bowing with a pre-bow Maras. I mean that's I guess the trend, and I've seen it, and I'm agreeing with it. Essentially, it is a decent boost of life, for just a single click. It's good now when you have the instant clicks and you can just go like this. It was really bothersome if you had to go like this every single time, but if you can just go like this, you can do it mid-duel, so it makes it way more viable to use. This is my Spider Assassin, so essentially a trapper with Fury and Chaos. So these are essentially the most important bits of the build. Everything else is just the standard, 2 faster cast rate rings, faster cast rate amulet. It's gonna vary with everybody. I've decided to focus on strength on the rings, so I can have the Maras as a to bow with, because otherwise if my amulet here had 25 strength, let's say, I wouldn't be able to switch to that, because the moment I take it off I wouldn't be able to wear my Enigma, let's say. So yeah, and I've tried to go with strength, life, mana, attack rating rings as best as I could, obviously, because my attack rating is really low at the moment. With Enchanted gets a little bit better, so I get to 3.6 with Enchant, so not too bad. 3.6 is okay, I guess, for non-block characters. I have 4 Shadow Skillers, 11k trap. My Chaos and my Fury are both Lightning Sentry and 3 Lightning Sentry, 3 Mind Blast. One is with Shadow Master, and then the other one is with Blade Shield. So yeah, this is for the versus Necromancers and stuff with burst of speed. This obviously I'll put a Ja Griffin I have in stash. And then versus if I'm playing versus druids or damage reduction characters, and I need fade, I'll switch to this claw so that I can have the most amount of my trap layering is still 9 frame traps with this, and I get to like 4.1k whirl. So versus druids is alright. I mean versus hammer dance you're not even gonna do that. Not hammer dance, sorry. Versus barbarians or something like that, you're not even gonna challenge world in them. Unless they're a new player. You wouldn't want to whirl with a with a barbarian versus casters, but yeah. So it's good versus sorcerers, however, so that's why it has the 100 attack rating, so that I can, let's say if I'm fighting versus a max block energy shield sorceress, I still need the fade obviously for the resists, but then I also get a little bit more attack rating with it. And then this way, with pre-casting with the call to arm side, you get 47 damage reduction. That's it really. By the way, the blade shield does not work. If somebody is thinking of like pre-casting blade shield, if you think like, oh, I'm gonna go like this and then I'm gonna switch back, the effect of the blade shield doesn't work unless it's you're wearing it. So it visually looks like it's there, but it's not actually working. So it is viable in this situation on this setup, because I'm going to be using it with burst of speed, and it will, it will be there and it will provide the stun. But the moment you switch to this class, it doesn't work anymore. So you can't really precast blade shields if some people think that you can, or like they thought that you can, but yeah, you can't. And that's it really. So this is the spider. Oh yeah, with these characters, I mean, I'm not like, it's just a basic statting situation, like max mind blast, max all the damage stuff, and then leave the rest for fade, and yeah, that's it pretty much. A little bit of weapon block. I think I have 57 weapon block. And then the last character is Druid, I think. Yeah. So. The Druid, so I have this circlet, this my man circlet. I really like it actually. It's a really good roll for a one socket circlet, like max life, max resist, almost max mana. Like really good for a one socket circlet. That's top notch, I think. Decent amulet, 2 rings, like, well, 1 ring with strength. And then just the basic, auto setup. Obviously, I can obviously move to a pelt setup, so you remove these 2 because you don't need them. And then I have extra rings here for just to make up for the 163 faster cast rate. In the video that I just deleted, I couldn't figure out why I have so much strength and why I can't wear shit. Later on I figured it out. I had actually started correctly. So what I was aiming for is, to use these 2 for 100% poison length reduce. So like in a situation, let's say where you're fighting a ghost, let's say, I can go like this and then use these 2. And then I have 174. And then I can put, if they're heavy on lightning, I can put the lightning. If they're heavy on whirlwind, like, I can put the damage reduction. And in that situation, obviously with charms and stuff, I'll have 75 light resist. I'll have obviously max hit recovery. I'll have loads of poison resist for the, against the venom. I'll have 40 damage reduction, like 39 damage reduction. So yeah, this was what that was aimed for. And this strength here is essentially just extra strength on these rings, because I just don't have other rings. So essentially, yeah, that was it really. I had actually started right. It just looked weird because I had so much excess strength. It kind of didn't make sense like now. But yeah, it was just because I don't have other life mana rings with no strength, and they have more, like this one has more life and mana than this one here. Mana, essentially. So I could just go like this. Or I could go, yeah, I could just go like that. So yeah, let me just, yeah, that's it really. I have this circlet as well. So, oh, another thing, because this pelt has the shockwave, versus necromancers, you could try shockwaving them. So because I'm 95, I have started there. So you could shockwave them, or versus energy shield sorcerers. It's not as effective as the old game, but it does work if you pull it off. So yeah. So yeah, and then I have this circlet here, which I said, I think, yeah. So just faster and walk, yeah, you could use it versus a trapper. Again, life and all resist, pretty decent. And that's it. So these are the PvP characters. The update for the PvP characters, all round solid characters, nothing like crazy, but it allows you to have fun versus in loads of matchups still. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll make a video about these 3 Magic Find characters later on and I'll upload that. as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully the audio is better than last time, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys.